All right, there we go.
This is what it's gonna have to be. All right. Welcome everyone. Welcome back to Hard Truth Hoops, brought to you by the Unapologetic Sports Network. I'm Anthony. This is my co-host McCaven. McCaven, how you doing today?
Doing just okay now.
Hold on. I'm gonna just turn my thing down. 'Cause I feel like I can kind of hear myself coming through your phone a little bit.
Okay.
Maybe you might have to turn yours down too, maybe a
Yeah,
little
I'm
bit.
turning mine down.
All right. Yeah, I mean, well, we've been having some technical difficulty. We really just trying to get this recording, this video out. We'll see if the other video can't get out, but we're gonna do this other video. We're gonna talk about the floors and ceilings of the NBA contenders. But before we start with them, I want to talk about our teams now. We can start in the summer, another your team. Actually, no. We'll wait on your team. Let's talk about my team. Because not too long ago we were recording the video and my fault. Not too long ago we were recording the video, and I was really down on the Rockets. I was really down on the Rockets. Well, actually, before we even talk about the Rockets, just quick note on my Spurs. Wemby has a bone contusion in his ribs.
Mm.
So
Wow. When was this?
honestly, this was in the Philadelphia game a few days ago. Now I haven't seen anything about what that's gonna mean for his for his damn, what's the word I'm looking for? For his all NBA
Availability?
stuff and his availability. I don't know if he'll be able to play or not. I'm pretty sure he should be able to play. Right? Right, he should be able to play fine. I'll look into that. But my actual Rockets though, yeah, we are on a 6 game or no, 7 game win streak now. We just beat Phoenix last night. I feel like the team's kind of getting this like juice to it. Like they're trying to like, hey, the playoffs is coming up. We gotta actually be serious. Let's like each other for a few months right here, or at least a few weeks. I don't think it's gonna be months, few weeks. Um, and just try to go out there and we ain't got nothing to play for. We ain't got nothing to lose at this point. What else can we lose? So when those get hurt, at this point, we know we're not winning the championship. So it's like, let's just, and um which I actually haven't looked at the stats. I don't know statistically what anyone did. I watched the game until I fell asleep last night because I was tired. I will say the beginning of the game, they started off terrible. Phoenix went on like a 24-0 run. We started off, the game was 5-2, and then they went on a 24-0 run. And then, remember we were talking about, when your team do something, and it's the first time this ever been done in however long. That was the largest run the Suns have ever had in their history. So, we just like making history out here in with Houston. KD had a decent game. It looked like. I mean, he was talking his stuff to Dylan Brooks.
Mm-hmm.
We was getting a little chippy with Jalen Green for some reason. I thought that was our guy. That was just our guy. I don't know what happened. But I
You
mean,
traded him.
Reed Shepard. What'd you say?
I said you traded him. That's what happened.
Yeah, but I mean, this is the 4th game we played this year. Why all of a sudden now we got beef? We've been cool all year with Jalen. Well, I mean, he been hurt. The last game he played, so he's only played against us twice. It was last game and then this game that just happened. I'm like, I don't know why there's beef. We're not going to see him in the playoffs unless for some reason something happens where both of us win the playoff series. Which, if that happens, the league is cooked. I mean, look, it was just all around effort, just stats wise. I mean, we're just a better team than Phoenix. We should beat them. I don't know why they shouldn't have even went on that run. We had to make this big old comeback to win, and we ended up winning by 14. So I mean, I ain't got too much to say about the Rockets. I mean, we're still not contenders, right? And I won't be mentioning them any other point in this video. So I just wanted to get them some love. Your Lakers, though, how are you feeling? Because just about last week, I was saying they were contenders, and then you know we're here now. So how are you feeling?
Man. Uh, yeah, in my eyes, we are still contenders. I know that is a stretch. I do
I ain't got
believe.
y'all contenders. I ain't got it. Not right now. Not in the current NBA that we're living in today. You guys are not contenders.
I think we are. I I believe that Luca will make a comeback to to the playoffs later in the first round, of course. But I think we will have enough to push past the first round, and then when Luca comes back, it's fine because then a little bit after, shortly after, AR comes back. Um, I am a little worried about where we will end up seeding wise with these last three games in the regular season. We
So
obviously cannot fall any lower than five, but
right.
depending on, if we fall to five, okay, well, who's the four? And then, like what is our matchup? Because if it's Denver in the first round, we're cooked. I mean, we're just flat out cooked. I'm just gonna be honest, we're cooked in the first round against Denver. But if we can grab the four seed, um, and and Houston is the five seed, we're good. We can get Houston,
Y'all are
we're
cooked,
good.
buddy. Y'all are cooked.
We're good.
Um, I mean, I have the standings right here. So Denver currently is 3 at
Hmm.
51 and 28. You guys are, well, both our teams are tied at 50 and 29, but of course you guys have the tiebreaker. Both teams are a game back from Denver. Now Denver plays tonight. They play
Hmm.
Memphis. So
So win.
they get another win. But then again, you never know. I think they just lost to Memphis not too long ago.
Well, they need to
Not too
lose
long.
to Memphis again.
Yeah, I don't think that's happened. I think 3 games left in the season. I think Memphis is saying they're done. They've been getting shit on all week by the NBA. They don't want to. But I actually predict with you guys, which I don't know you guys' schedule for the rest of the year. Actually, I think I can look it up. The last few games of the season, you guys have Golden State tomorrow, then Phoenix,
Golden
then
State
Utah.
Kings. Yeah.
So Golden State, I don't know if they're trying to play for anything or not. Honestly, I don't know. I think they want to win games. I think they're in the play-in, so they're stuck at 10. They're not going any higher or lower. They're stuck at 10, pretty much.
Yeah.
Um, so they don't necessarily have anything to play for, but I mean, I don't think they're not gonna send their guys out there. Steph didn't play him, right? He played against Houston a few days ago. Um, so I mean, we could see. I don't. You guys should beat Golden State just based off where you guys are standing wise, and what you guys have been all year. But that game, anyone could win, right? Uh, the Rockets have to hit a game winner to beat them. So there's that. Houston, like I said, we're tied. The rest of our schedule, we have Philly, Minnesota, and Memphis. So you
Okay.
know, it's
Okay.
not impo. We could go 3-0. We could go 1-2. We could go if we go 0-3. Good lord. It won't be no. If they go 0-3, it won't be any we name no more. But here's the thing: Denver. They got Memphis tonight. The last 2 games of the season. OKC and San Antonio.
Ooh, that's what
Now
I'm talking about right there.
The OKC game is Friday. Is in Denver, but I'm not sure if OKC's gonna care. They got the 1 seed wrapped up, or at least they might have the 1 seed wrapped up. But depending on what's going on with San Antonio,
They
which I
still a
can look at
good
there,
team.
they are. But then Denver also last game of the season has to play San Antonio, which at that point only like I said, it's 3 games left in the season. Only way San Antonio jumps up is if OKC loses out, which
Hmm.
I don't see that happening. So Oklahoma City is pretty much going to be 1. San Antonio's going to be 2. So then that means last game of the season they might not even play anybody, or at least if they play, Wemby might have to play the 20 minutes just to get his All NBA stuff, but then he'll get out. So they're not going to be playing series. Um, Denver could use that game to stay as the 3 seed, or if the 3 seed is for some reason locked up at that point for them, then So it's a lot of implication what could happen with that. But like you said, at worst, you guys drop to 5. We'll really just have to see how everything shapes up because with everything being so close and so finicky. I mean, you guys are on a 3-game losing streak. Denver's on a 9-game win streak, and we're on a 7-game win streak. So you guys are literally going backwards at
Yeah.
the wrong time while other teams are going forward. Um, so I
Yeah.
mean,
I
you
I
know,
it's not it's definitely we are going in the wrong direction right now. However, like I said, lowest we can go is 5, so we are locked into in the playoffs, and then as well as um we don't have to which us being locked in, we don't have to play in the play in, which gives us a little bit of more cushion, a little bit of more time before the playoffs actually start. For our next game when once the regular season ends. To get into it, as I do still have us as a contender, obviously our floor is a first round exit. That
I think
obviously.
depending on, of course, depending on where you guys fall in the standing, I definitely have you guys floor as a first round exit. Of course, if you guys were fully healthy, I think you guys floor will be second round exit.
Mhm.
Just based on if you guys had to play Oklahoma City, San Antonio, or Denver, I'm just like I think you guys will lose to any three of those teams, or at least you guys could lose to any three of those teams. Um, guys, I don't have y'all contender, but y'all ceiling for me, conference finals.
Whoa.
But I'm saying conference finals because, like I said, I don't see you guys beating all three. Well, if you guys was to beat one of those teams, I don't think you guys could beat more than one of those teams. Which at most you only have to play two of them. I don't think you guys can get through two rounds of beating both of those teams. I think at some point those teams, as a whole unit, are more talented, and eventually the talent will balance out. And I mean, you guys have that type of roster that you guys could get to the conference finals, and all of a sudden none of y'all can shoot. You know what I mean? You guys have that type of um, ebbs and flows with the type of guys you have in your roster. Of course, someone like Luca, I wouldn't be worried about. Austin Reeves, I kind of would be. And LeBron, you got to see how he would be, with an extended playoff, run. So, conference finals at best, if you guys were still a contender in my eyes, but you guys aren't.
No,
So,
no, at best
um,
championship. At best championship.
and
One
see,
hundred
I didn't
percent.
say championship because that means, I mean, if I had y'all make it to the finals, I think y'all could win a championship, especially based off some of the teams I have that could make the championship out of the East. I think that there are some of the teams out of the East that y'all could beat, but then I just don't think y'all could beat teams in the West to get to the finals. Now, of course, y'all get to the finals, y'all might fuck around with a championship, but y'all have to get there. I just don't see y'all getting there based off of what I currently know with
Hey,
Austin Reeves and Luca being hurt.
long road ahead of us. I'm not giving up hope.
It's not that long a road ahead of y'all, man. It's 3 games left. Y'all ain't got this time in the world.
Well, I'm
You
talking about
know.
long road ahead of us with as far as Luca's injury. That's the man. That's the big determining factor is Luca's injury.
Well, I will say at worst for y'all, the playoffs for y'all would start in 10 days,
Hmm.
right? Um, that best you guys will play Sundays with 11 days. So, which is a week and a half, so and do you know at all when Luke's gonna get reevaluated? I know he just went over to Europe.
Yeah. So I was actually looking it up today. So he went to Spain. He's doing like stem cell treatment, which is supposed to help, speed up the process. I actually saw a clip of Denny Green. I mean, my bad, Denny Red, who used to play for us, who missed that, wide open game winning shot. LeBron passed up to him for us in the
Oh,
Bubble
I'm
finals.
thinking
Yeah,
like who the hell is Danny Red? I'm like,
yeah,
oh,
Denny
okay.
Red. Yeah, I mistakenly called him Denny Green. But no, he was talking about he actually had got it before, and he said that it actually does help. It actually does help, depending on how bad of a hamstring pull that it is. I know it's grade two, but still depending on how bad it is.
Yeah,
He
it
said
changed per
you,
person.
yeah, it's different per person, so it does help. He was saying it could still be looking at somewhere between 3 to 5 weeks. So it really just depends on uh it'll depend on how bad Lucas hamstring actually is, and then um I don't know if there's anything new from when Denny Green had got the treatment. So we'll see.
Yeah. and I don't like always bringing this player up, but James Harden, when he had his hamstring injury in 2021, I mean, he tried to come back that same series. I mean, he tore it literally like 30 seconds into game one, and he tried to come back around like game six, game seven. He ain't looking, he couldn't move, right?
Mm-hmm.
Even him being a decoy, everyone knew he can't move from point A to point B, pretty much at all. Um, and but Luca, I mean, he will have more time to try to heal it, but at the same time, Luca's not the most athletic person, but to get to that step back, he's gonna need his hammy.
But that's where I'm holding out hope because Luca's game is not in any way centered around athleticism. Like he plays at his own speed, which is a very slow speed, but it works for him. And so that's why I'm like, and it's not that he's been better on defense this year, but he's not this great defender anyway. So it's not, and we've always had to deal with that. So at least for this year and then half of last season, whatever. But that's why I'm still holding out hope that we are a contender because he does have more time than James Harden. He is doing the stem cell stuff, so I'm holding out hope that probably game five, if we can do our due diligence, if we grab Houston and we can push it to 7 games, I think game five or game six, Luka comes back and we'll be good to go from there in the playoffs.
Do you think you guys have enough margin of error for Luca to have any type of decline for his type of play? Like a
Mm-hmm.
team like the Thunder, for example. Um, I mean, last year in the playoffs, Shea was terrible against Memphis, but they whooped Memphis ass, right?
Mm-hmm.
They had all that margin for error. Do you think you guys? And I'm saying that also with the idea of Austin Reeves as well being out, because then that
Yes.
margin for error shrinks really. Like 'cause we talked about it, or did that video? No, that video did come out. He is I think you like one of you guys X factor between him and DeAndre Ayton. Their play is really gonna determine how far you guys can go. So do you think you guys can still, even with Luca having a slight step, let's say a 20% decrease as far as productivity, do you think you guys can still compete with that?
Yeah, I actually do. And because I know he is old, but we still do have LeBron James. And you saw it against the Mavericks. I mean, he still got it. Like, there's nothing. I mean, what he said to that fan, like, I still can do this. They just put me on the shelf. I mean, that's literally what it was. That's literally what it was. He still can do it. JJ Redick just put him on the shelf because that's not how our team was constructed. That's not what we needed. And we going into the playoffs, you know, we're either going to be 3, 4, or 5 seed, which is a really good seeding. LeBron James is probably looking at this, he's probably looking at it like, how many more opportunities of this will I get? I think he's going to completely lock in. I actually wouldn't be surprised if we get another zero dark 30 Bron for these playoffs to lock in and really try to push to win a ring, which gives us that margin of error. And in addition to the NBA playoffs, you have to win 4 games, which takes time. So and they always do. I don't know if you've ever noticed every Lakers series since LeBron's been there, they do a solid. We always get the 2-day intervals between the games instead of like the
Yeah.
1-day intervals.
Well, I mean, I think part of that is where you guys are geographically. But also, you being a Braun fan, Braun loses game one a lot, pretty much all the time,
It is
like
what
a
it
lot.
is.
Um, so then there's that margin for error too. Then it's like, okay, yeah, it is just one game, but then it's like now you guys got to go forward. You guys can't lose 3 more games. You know what I'm saying? They got to go 4-2 from that point. Um, I don't know. I mean, it do depend on who y'all get. I mean, if y'all stay the 3 seed, Minnesota is stuck at 6. So you guys have Minnesota, and then depending like 4 and 5 could flip. We don't know. That would either be Denver or Houston. I mean, like you said, Denver, you guys might be cooked, deep fried. So your best bet is honestly Minnesota's your best bet. I don't think currently because you even just based off watching the games against Houston last week that the Lakers played, it's just like we still have an athletic advantage on y'all. We just gotta be able to make our shots. And then Luca had 40 both those games. So take that 40 away. Also the 7 to 8 assists. DeAndre Ayton might not be as engaged because he's not getting the lives with the pass from Luke. You know what I mean? Luca's a very important player. But that's enough Laker talk. We ain't got to talk about them losers anymore. We can talk about actual contenders. I don't know if you want to start from the weakest team or the best team as far as contenders go. I mean, I don't have them ranked.
Let's go on the East. Let's go to the East.
Let's start with the East. I have 3 teams from the East as contenders.
Correct. Same here.
I'm pretty sure it's the top 3 seeds, which are Detroit, Boston, and New York.
Correct.
Okay. Of those 3 teams, who do you think has the lowest chance?
The lowest chance, unfortunately, Detroit. Obviously, because of Cade's injury. Unfortunately, Detroit, and
now Cade
the
is
worst
back.
part, they're still a good team.
Cade is currently playing today. Actually, he is back. He is that I play in Milwaukee. So
yeah, but I mean, a partially collapsed lung. I've never had anything like that. I am definitely going to be eager to see, how he plays. If Cade is fully back, 100%, and he's fine, 100%, then I actually would say, uh, Boston has the lowest chance.
oh wow. Okay, well we'll get into that. As of right now, currently, as I'm recording this video, right now, Detroit, I mean, they're up 20, in the third quarter. It's 104-86 to Milwaukee right now. Cade is currently in the game. He has 13 points, 4 rebounds, 6 assists, 6 for 10 from the field, 2 turnovers. So I'm not watching it. I'm literally just looking at the stat sheet. Usually players come back and they're like, 2 for 8 type of thing. You know what I'm saying? So I'm gonna watch the game later, or at least watch his minutes and see how he's moving and stuff like that and looking. But I actually had New York as the worst of the 3 contenders. But to stay on Detroit, since we are talking about Detroit, with Cade being back, if he actually is going to be back since he is currently playing, I think their floor to me, which again, let me actually look at the standings for this because I want to factor this in. Based off, they're like at the 1 seed, they're keeping the 1 seed. The playing is interesting in the East because there are a few teams that could end up at that 8th spot. I mean, Philly, Orlando, Charlotte, or Miami. Now, I don't think Miami's going to do it. I think the 2 teams that make the playoffs are going to be Philly and Charlotte.
Yeah.
I think
Philly grabs the 7th seed.
Philly grabs the 7.
grabs the 8th seed.
And then
Detroit's
Charlotte
floor
playing
is a
Detroit.
second round exit.
Now, Charlotte is playing Detroit. I think Detroit will win that. Now, that's going to be a tough battle. They actually play like this week, I think, at the end of this week. So that's going to be an interesting thing. I think Detroit will win that. Second round, though, they will have to play Cleveland, I'm assuming, which I also think they would probably think they would beat Cleveland. Conference finals is where they would have to run into either Boston or New York. I think the conference finals, honestly, if Cade is healthy, and I'm just fuck it, I think their floor might be conference finals. Now that is contingent on if they actually play the way they played in the regular season. If for some reason nobody could do anything that they've done in the regular season, then obviously they can lose in the first round. If some crazy stuff happen, they can lose in the first round. But from the field and the path they would have to take, and what I predict, just looking at what the standings are currently, I think they could make the conference final. Now, and the reason I put their floor there is because I think, of course, depending on who comes out the West, it's a very long shot. I'm not saying they will do this. Their ceiling could be winning a championship because I think once you make it to the finals, I think you could win. You know, if the matchup work perfectly in your favor, right? I mean, Indiana almost beat OKC last year. No one would have predicted that, but obviously, that's something that could have happened.
Hey, if somebody
Uh,
Achilles didn't pop, you never know.
right, and they were up at halftime with his Achilles popping. You don't know, basketball can switch like that. Just the snapping of Achilles, all of a sudden, so much is different. So I mean, yes, I do think they could win a championship. Yes, I think they could make it to the finals. I'm not picking them to do that though. They're not my
Yeah,
favorite out the East. I just saying what is the possibility. Well, I actually think like they could make the finals. I think that is their actual ceiling. What happens in the finals, we don't know.
okay, yeah. I That's where I have their ceiling is the finals. I have their floor as a second round exit. This is with or without K. Obviously, he's back already, but yeah, I took this into consideration with or without K. Yeah, their ceiling is the finals, and their floor is the second round exit. I
Yeah, I
the
could see that. I could see a second round exit. I'm not. I mean, like I said, just looking at if they have to play Cleveland, Cleveland could beat them, or they could beat Cleveland. That's a toss of series to me. Just because I don't know how the choice is going to look playoff wise. Just because I mean, this is their second time being there. They're going in with you know people are looking at them now. Last year they were the underdog. Just we're happy to be here. Now you guys have to perform. People are looking to
Mhm.
see okay, the choice, the first seed, right? Whenever the choice good, people expect okay they're going to be really competitive for the playoffs because they're anytime they're good they actually are really competitive. So it's like, hey, you guys are gonna be good. Let's see something. We're gonna be looking to see if you guys are the true one seed because once you once you're at the one seed, once you're at the top, even with regards to what kind of experience you got, people are gonna be aiming and shooting for you, right? Especially the experienced teams, they're gonna be looking like, hey, those guys haven't been in the playoffs, as much as I had, right? Um, which the first round series, like I said, they play Charlotte. They have that advantage because they made the playoffs last year, right? But then Boston, New York, or Cleveland, any of those three teams have like so much more playoff experience, or at least certain players have so much more playoff experience than anyone on Detroit.
Yeah,
Besides Tobias Harris. Tobias Harris got a lot.
yeah. Um, the next team for me in the East, which is funny that I think that I said, as far as like the lowest, like the percentage and stuff, Boston. It's funny that I said that because I have the obviously their ceiling is a championship with Jason Tatum back. Their ceiling is a championship. Uh, but I actually think their floor is the conference finals. Like they are a team that they I mean, man, they are scary. They're a scary team. They're a scary team that now that Jason Tatum is back, yeah, Jalen Brown on the MVP level. It's kind of the same thing with Detroit with K, like K on the playing at an MVP level. Like these teams are seriously dangerous. And but I just the when we get to New York, I'll kind of explain why I kind of had that percentage different. But yeah, ceiling for Boston championship floor conference finals for sure.
I'm putting my phone up. Here we go. For me, I mean, I think Boston. See, the thing is, in a way, I don't want to have all these teams have the same ceiling and floor, but I mean, that's just kind of how it's going to end up being. Their floor, I mean, do I think Philly could beat them? I don't think so. So their floor to me would have to be. I mean,
Well,
second round, like And it's crazy because I said Detroit. I don't think Detroit's floor is second round because I actually think
Hmm.
they will be Cleveland. But based off what I think will happen, New York being the third seed and who Boston will have to face in the second round, I think Boston could get, or I think New York could get Boston out of there again, right? Especially considering I think last year's Boston team was more talented. Now this team has a type of camaraderie that's like surprising to most people. I didn't think they were going to be this good, but last year's team was better, right? And New York got them out of there. And I think now New York, I don't think is better than they were last year. But also, I don't think New like how good New York was based off what they did in the regular season. It was what they did in the playoffs, right? With Jalen Brunson being the playoff riser, with the defensive infrastructure um, of Mikal Bridges and OG Anunoby. I think that's another toss up for me. I think similar to the Detroit versus Cleveland thing, even though like I don't have Cleveland as a contender, but they could be Detroit in my mind, and then that means they could be in the conference finals. But I think that's their ceiling, right? These
Oh yeah.
teams, I think for me, all these teams I have on here, the contenders, the actual contenders, I think you have to have some sort of like, okay, I think they could win the championship. So I think Boston could win the championship. Obviously, that it also is contingent on who comes out the West. But I mean, I just think there's the talent on this team. I don't want it to because I actually do want to see Boston like have a decent run, but it could come back to bite them. Just the guys that aren't the guys, the guy that they had last year.
Hmm. Yeah. Yeah. That is something with this team. Uh, it's it's like they're really good, but like you said, when you think about these other contending teams, that they can still get got, and that's what I like. That's how I view it as far as um I have their ceiling I have ceilings at certain points, but that's not necessarily saying putting it right in stone that Boston is going to win or something like that. So that's where like when we moving on to New York. New York's floor for me is a first round exit. I genuinely think a first round exit could happen for New York. But then for
You know
me,
what?
New York's
I
ceiling is the finals.
I don't like it, but I don't hate it. Now again, just the standings as they currently stand. Right now they will play Toronto.
Hmm. It's not a
I
gimme.
It's not a given, but it's like I'm definitely leaning New York 75-25, maybe even
Oh
eighty
yeah.
twenty, maybe even 80-20. But see, this is the thing with the NBA as a whole. I think this year is a really good example of it. That no team is perfect. Every
Hmm.
team has its flaws, and this thing that you love to say, how matchups are the most important thing in the playoffs, right?
Hmm.
Again, I don't think Toronto would beat New York, but I don't hate the idea of it. I wouldn't if in 4 weeks from now we're on here talking about how Toronto beat New York. I'm not gonna be what? Oh my god, they beat New York! Like it's like, hey, they got them right. They could be
Yeah.
got.
Yeah.
Um, Now with New York, so I know you said did you say you have they could win the championship, or do you think they could
I
make it?
As far as the teams in the East, I think that they are the number one team in the East. If I would have to pick, if I'm like a team in the East is winning the championship, I would place all my money and bet on New York that they are winning
Okay.
the championship.
I mean, if in that way, because I think all three of them have a chance, obviously.
Yeah.
But if I was to rank the three, yeah, I probably would say New York one, Boston two, Detroit three. But Boston could end up being one, right? I'm trying not to sleep on Boston. Jason
Hmm.
Tatum, I've seen them. They were playing. They actually played Toronto a few days ago. Who they play yesterday? They played Charlotte yesterday.
Yeah.
Jason Tatum's been looking decent. He looks like Jason Tatum to me. Obviously, he hasn't had that 40-50 ball. I'm not. expecting that. But
Uh,
Jason Tatum come out and drop a 40-50 ball. Hey, whoever, because when Jason Tatum get hot, he's one of them players that just like, all right, I guess he just ain't missing today. He's making everything, even the shots that
mm-hmm.
he shouldn't miss. He's making them all. Um, I mean, one thing that people have said a lot, and I've been hearing and everything, is that people try to, make the East seem like it definitely is better than the West, or at least is back competing with the West. As long as I've been an NBA fan, the West has always just been better.
Yeah.
Even with those three teams in the East, I rank the three teams in the West above all of them. Um, well, I have
Well,
three teams in the West. You have the Lakers. The Lakers I would have in the mix with those teams, but I think the other three teams in the West are above them. At least I would comfortably have all three of those teams ranked before I rank the East team. At least,
I wouldn't. I wouldn't. Boston,
okay.
not. Boston's better than Denver and better than San Antonio, in my
Well,
opinion. But
I think that Boston could beat either of those teams. Now, I don't think Boston could beat OKC. I currently don't think they would beat OKC. Now, should have, would have type of thing. We never know. We don't know what's going to happen.
right.
But um, as far as like actual contention, what I actually think is going to happen, um, I think that those three teams are better equipped to win the championship this current year than any of those three teams. But we can move on to the West. We can start. I mean, sound like Denver's your weakest team in the West besides the Lakers, but of the other three.
Yeah, yeah.
Okay, we can
Denver.
start with them. Um, Denver, as we talked about before, they are currently 3 seed, but could be as low as 5. With that type of uncertainty, it definitely has to be in question. But even with them at the 3 right now, Minnesota's the 6, and Minnesota they be playing some basketball when they play against Denver. So we're gonna pause recording for a second. Hey, babe, what's up?
Um, I'm always saying you like feeling like so.
Okay, well, after I'm done recording, we'll go.
You know, like
I don't know. We'll see. Give me like 20 more minutes. It ain't gonna take too long. Okay, we're in flow
you
state.
want me to say she can wait 2020?
Please.
Mm.
All right, I'm gonna get back to working. Um, so Denver, they could be the 3 seed, the 4 seed, the 5 seed. Now, like you said, if they play your team, you think you guys might be cooked, at least in the first round, I would say.
Yeah.
Um, if they play my team, I think we're gonna lose as well. Um, so I mean, floor for me would be floor is contingent on their seeding, but
Mm-hmm.
first round exit, if they drop or anything like that. My phone do that. First round exit they drop. I think they could be a first round exit they drop, but then if they don't drop, they stay the 3 seed. I think they will. Their floor is just gonna be second round, so not that crazy, but they could just lose in the second round instead. But ceiling is championship.
Wow, really?
I mean, if they make it out the West,
I think they
if
can.
they are playing well enough to make it out the West, because like you said, I think the other two teams that have, like above them are better than them. But if they make it out the West, that means they had to beat both of those teams. So at that point, who can't they beat? Right? Which of course anyone can lose to anybody at this point, right? Like we don't know. None of these teams are perfect, right? Any of these teams could just they can make it to the finals after beating both those teams. Jamal Murray can turn into, you know, whoever, I don't know, terrible, right? And now, the whole dynamic of everything changed, right? So obviously there's a whole lot of, but what I think they could win the championship. And I'm sorry. I think every team I'm talking about could win the championship in a hypothetical world where everything goes perfect, right? Of course, the margin of victory or the margin of error for each team is different. Denver's margin of error. Now, I do think their margin for error is not as big as, or how's that go? is smaller. No, I think San Antonio has a smaller margin for error, but
Then
I
Denver.
think San Antonio has infrastructure, which of course San Antonio, they haven't been there before, so there's that part as well that adds into San Antonio. But then Denver, uh, they have we don't know what's going. I mean, they still have some guys that's hurt. Peyton Watson still hurt. Someone else is still hurt. Peyton Watson still hurt, though. I know that for sure. Um, it's Peyton Watson and Spencer Jones. I'm not worried about Spencer Jones. So yeah. So that's a person that was very important for them early in the season. That is still currently hurt. And I don't know how long he's going to be hurt, but it says, well, I guess he got hurt April 2nd. It doesn't say anything, at least on where I'm at. So, we don't know, but I think they could. I think they have a large range. I think they might have the largest range of all the teams I've talked about so far.
Man, Denver is a first round exit floor and a conference final ceiling. There is Denver. Denver is they have been inconsistent this season. I think that inconsistency will follow them into the playoffs. Um, if there's one team that I'm like, yes, they are a contender, but there's no way they're winning a championship, I would pick Denver.
So,
I man,
with that being said, to you, a contender is someone who can make it to the conference finals,
no. A
or you just
contender
have
is
them as a because
like
you
you
don't think
said,
they
in
could
the
win the
most
championship.
perfect world, they
Well,
can. In the most perfect world, they can. And if Jamal Murray somehow turns into Michael Jordan, and then Jokic is still being Jokic, yeah. In that perfect world scenario, yeah, I guess.
in a way, their perfect world is like when Doctor Strange was looking for all the different worlds, the time period when they won against Thanos. They got the one perfect time.
Is
They got
it?
the one
Yeah, they
time.
got the one. They got the
They got the
one
one timeline. Okay.
versus the 14,500,000 whatever.
Yeah.
Like, yeah, yeah.
Yeah.
They have.
Thanos got them out of there 14,305 times. But the one time, hey, they make a whole movie about the other times.
So
Okay.
yeah.
I can agree that the variance they definitely could lose. They could lose at any round, right? They could lose at any round, but I think that they could hypothetically, in a perfect world, make it to the finals. And then if they're playing against Detroit in the finals, I mean, I think they could beat Detroit. If they're playing against New York in the finals, I think they could. I don't know about that. I don't know. I don't know. We'll figure that out.
You see what I'm saying?
I don't. I don't know. We can go to the next team I have in the West, which would be San Antonio.
Yep.
Which in the video that didn't come out. I don't think I said this in any other videos, but no one watched them anyways. But San Antonio, the team I'm picking to win the championship of all the teams, they're the team I'm rooting for to win because my Rockets ain't doing nothing. But as far as their ceiling goes, like I said, the championship. But then for right now, currently, as things stand, they would well, it would be the play-in bunch. So I mean, we'll see what Phoenix, the Clippers. I think they're just really Phoenix the Clippers. I don't think Portland or Golden State gonna make the playoffs. So I mean, I think they could get Phoenix or the Clippers out of there. Now, how difficult or easy that might be, we'll see. But then in the second round, that's when they would have to play Denver, or if Denver, you know. So I mean, I think floor is second round for me. And I think part of that is that margin of error with the margin of error that they have because of the shooting possibility and the experience as well. They're not the most experienced team in the world, so that experience could catch up to them quick. I don't think I think they'll out talent whoever they play in the first round, where that inexperience doesn't matter. But then once they're playing a team who's been there before, I think it could come back to bite them in the ass. Especially if it's like in a long extended series. Um, and then I mean, Wemby's currently dealing with something, so we'll see how that goes, especially with the physicality of the playoffs. His first time being there, you being an official, we were going to talk about it before the technical difficulties we had, but you know, they might, they might let people give him an extra nudge.
Mm-hmm.
Extra push, a little welcome to the playoff type of thing. We gotta see. I'm really interested to watch how they are gonna play because they're the team I'm rooting for. I mean, where you got it for San Antonio?
Man, I this was even before the Wimby news that I just heard today. Cause there was nothing that like popped up on any kind of social media for me about this, which is surprising. Um, but this is before I got them as their floor first round exit and their ceiling I have as the finals. That floor being a first round exit to me, um, either whoever draws the Clippers, OKC, or San Antonio, they're going to be on serious upset watch. The Clippers are not a team that personally I would want to play. Now, granted, if it's OKC, I feel more confident that OKC will still definitely get that victory. If it's San Antonio, and then now, especially after hearing this Wimby stuff with, it's like you said with the physicality in the playoffs. If San Antonio draws the Clippers, I would be worried as a San Antonio Spurs fan. Since you are a San Antonio Spurs fan, apparently, I would be
For the
worried
time
if you
being,
guys draw the Clippers.
I will say the Clippers and even the Suns. The Suns have played the Spurs really well this year. Because they get real physical with Wimby. They switch it up. They got a rotation of big men and everything like that. And then Ty Lue, just as a coach, he likes playing a physical type of defense. So I mean, I don't think it's a series that can't be won by the Spurs. I think the Spurs will still be the overwhelming favorite, just as far as like who everyone will expect to win. But I mean, I think that I wouldn't be shocked, and I don't want to just be like having all these, oh my god, these are crazy type of, but that could be a 7 game series, right? And there are times where a team that's supposed to be significantly better than the other team goes 7 and they win game 7 in a type of convincing way. But it's like you shouldn't have went 7, but hey, that team was tough. They played, and it really took 7 games to beat that team. I think it is possible, and I mean Kawhi might be coming for revenge if he's playing in San Antonio. I don't know. Kawhi might try to turn back the clock.
Yeah,
Um,
man, you never
I will
know.
say the only concern I would then have would be maybe the point guard type play of the Clippers, which I know they got Darius Garland, but Darius Garland is actually hurt right now. What does he got that's hurt? Why is he hurt? Something with his foot. It's always his foot. It's
It's
been his
all
foot for the last 3 years.
yeah.
So if he's hurt, I don't think the Clippers have a shot because they don't have a point guard. I mean,
Yeah.
Kawhi could try to shoot as efficient as he wants. He can only score so much, right? I don't think Kawhi alone. I think the Clippers have not enough talent to, they can't lose their point guard of all positions. They can't lose the point guard. That's not even the point guard they've had all year, right? That's just something they just got. They can't lose. They can't not have a point guard.
True. True. Yeah, their experience plays a factor, but experience. I mean, one way it could actually work in their favor is the next team we're about to talk about, OKC. I mean, OKC was, they were fairly inexperienced, and they won a championship last year. Uh,
I will say
and
with Oklahoma City, last year was their second run at it as
hmm
far as this nucleus. So they kind of did run into the experience thing 2 years ago, right? So that
yeah,
could be a thing for the Spurs where they're this is next year could be the year, once they actually get a feel for the playoffs, because
hmm
the playoffs is a whole different game for all these guys, right? Like
it is.
even Wimby, who is like he's this really good player, and I still expect him to like play well in the playoffs. I think there's gonna be an adjustment for sure. And then I think I think it's kind of like the rite of passage. You have to lose in the playoffs before you win. Uh, I mean, every player has done it. No player has went out there with no playoff experience just won a championship. That doesn't happen. Because you need to kind of, in order to know how to win, you have to know how not to lose. Right?
Right.
I forgot who said it. I heard someone say that at the Rockets game yesterday. but it is something that I do believe is like you have to know what losing looks like and feels like to then know how not to do that, right?
Right. Right.
Because if you just going in there thinking, oh, we ain't got nothing to lose, we just on a high horse, as soon as you get undercut, you don't know what to do. You haven't went through no adversity. You don't know how to overcome. You don't know the guys that are playoff made and guys that aren't. A player that I really like on San Antonio that I think might end up having a really good run for them is Stephon Castle. But Stephon Castle could mess around and just not be effective in the playoffs because it's his first
Yeah.
time there, and then that just changes their whole team. So I mean that is good. That is something to look out for. But I think that the benefit they have is the infrastructure they have as a defensive team and the kind of the way San Antonio just runs and the way they play basketball, even though it's not Popovich, they do have a different coach in Mitch Johnson. It's like, hey, we don't know how Mitch Johnson's going to be in the playoffs, but he's in San Antonio. He has good teaching. They have, the Spurs are the Spurs. They're going to
Right.
be the
Good. A good
Spurs,
organization.
right? But then we can move that to Oklahoma City, another good organization, the defending champions. Obviously, I mean, like I stated before, I think their ceiling could be them winning the championship again. But their
Hmm.
floor could be a possible early exit.
Wow.
But I think the earliest exit they could actually see one of these two teams, as far as San Antonio and Denver, I think those are the only two teams that could beat them would be the conference finals. I think they're
Okay.
good enough to at least get there, which an early exit for them would be conference finals just based off how good of a team they are. Um, but they're not a invincible team, right?
Yeah.
I
No.
mean
No.
they could have got by Denver last year, right? Now and kind of with how I was feeling with Detroit, where it's like you get the one seed, you get the benefit of playing the eighth seed, and then having to play whoever comes out the 4-5 matchup, which could be easier than that 2-3. Because that 2-3 in both conferences is like you got Denver and San Antonio, and then you got New York and Boston. It's like they're going to have to run into each other, right? Assuming neither of those teams lose in the first round. But with teams this good, it's like we're just assuming they're going to make the second round. Where it's like they got to go against each other. They got to fight to see who's going to play OKC, and OKC's got to get out their series against the team that's not on the level of those teams, and just meet the winner and just hope that the other team beat them up enough to where they get an easier fight.
Hmm.
Um, so I think they get that part of it, and the experience of knowing what winning is. Right? They did go through adversity last year, going against Denver, and then having. I'm sure they probably thought when they went against Indiana, it was going to be quick, and they were, in the second half of Game 7 down. Right? They had to overcome. Um, and then I mean, Shea's better. I don't know if Jay does better. I don't think Jay does better than he was last year, but Chet's better. Lou Dort is worse. Um, so there's not there's important players in the team that some went up, some went down. How's that gonna balance out? How is trying to defend the championship? How does that pressure, affect them? Um, I mean, I don't know. I said I think they could win the championship. I actually think they are the actual favorite. I think they're the best team in the league. But like I said, with them and with all the teams below them, anyone can get got. Um, so yeah, I mean, they could win the championship or conference finals. Somewhere in there.
Yeah. Yeah. This one for me, obviously, to be the quickest conversation ever. Championship ceiling, conference finals floor. Um, OKC, they have that mystique about them that is similar to say the Kansas City Chiefs, for the AFC, where it's like,
You just know they're gonna be there. You just
yeah, you
gotta
know they're
see
gonna
who
be
plays
there, and
them.
you don't want to run into them because, like, man, like, dang, I gotta play Patrick Mahomes. Whereas, like now in basketball, it's like OKC is like, man, I gotta play OKC. It's like they just have that
I'm
mystique.
kind of surprised that you already are on that with them. I don't like. the close like you brought up the Chiefs. I mean, the last thing we had with that in the NBA was the Warriors. I don't have that feel with OKC that I had with the Warriors. Now, I don't know if that's because my team was contending and I actually was trying to beat the Warriors and I knew we couldn't and I was just hoping. And that the way the league was back then, no one was trying to compete with the Warriors but the Rockets. So it was just like, their floor, the Warriors' floor for some of those years was the finals. They're gonna make the finals. They just are they gonna lose? And honestly, some of them years, like 2017, their floor was winning the championship. Their ceiling was winning the championship. I mean, the floor was they lose a few games in the way to the championship, and they only end up losing one, right? So
Man,
I actually don't have that feel for OKC, at least not this year. I think they could be good.
wait, watch the obviously this year in the playoffs, and then I think they're gonna have this core, this group for probably the next 2 seasons, and it's gonna then you're gonna look back like, man, they were like it was like that, and I like I said, 2 more seasons, especially next year. I think once again it's gonna be OKC one fighting for either the first or second seed, one of the top 2 seeds, and then it's going to be, man, I don't want to run into OKC. Like I don't
Yeah,
want
I mean, I can definitely like in the last video that we recorded that didn't come out. I mentioned how like I can kind of sometimes sit back and really take the fandom out of me, like my biases or whatever narratives I think or know, or whatever the case may be, and I can just kind of acknowledge when I'm watching greatness. Um, and last year was kind of an acceptance of OKC as a team, right? It's like, okay, they're that level team. They actually officially because I was kind of skeptical with them not having as much experience. I mean, they only had the 1 year, and then
to.
going into last year, and then they won the championship. So now I have okay, they can win the championship, but how dominant can they be for stretches of years? And I mean, like you said, this could be a few more years of this. I just gotta see all right, once they become that team of a few years, I just want to see how am I gonna feel about them in regards to how other teams were when they were on their runs.
Hmm.
I mean, I think the NBA, I think it's gonna be a really good playoffs. I mean, if any of these teams that we had, wherever their floor, if they drop below that floor, I mean, we're gonna be up here to talk about it. Because whatever happened, it's gonna be something interesting. Because there's no way some of these teams should lose, at certain points. But it's a long conversation, but it was a really good conversation. Really good episode. I really enjoyed it. I think we got a lot tackled there.
Oh yeah.
I think this was really good. You got anything else before we wrap?
Nope.
All righty then. Well, you heard it here. That is Hard Truth Hoops, brought to you by Unapologetic Sports Network. We will see you guys next time. Have a good one.